Hi guys, welcome to module 2. In this module we had a couple of videos about cruise ships and about Cancun and some of the impacts. And as you see, we're really following kind of Jafari's platform. So in this module we're looking at some of the negative impacts, and we have to know this in order to then figure out how we can decrease those and what we can do in terms of sustainability. And also you'll see that we really stuck with those three main pillars, right? Sociocultural, economic, and environmental. And these will follow us through this course. And as we go deeper into the material in later modules and we look at certification, you'll also see that a lot of the indicators are going to be in all of those three sectors as well. So just keep that in mind. Just some quick things. So in terms of environmental impacts, you guys saw that a lot of this happens from boom and bust tourism, from mass tourism development. Some of the impacts we talked about were basically habitat loss, which follows species loss, right? A lot of times even building roads or airports, right, that creates kind of a separation between habitat, right? So that so we have to create corridors. So some of the things we can do is actually build overpasses for wildlife. We talked about deforestation and the impacts of that. You saw the slide on Hawaii and how a deforested area, there's just a lot more runoff, a lot more runoff in that way. And then that also on islands impacts the reefs. In terms of economic impacts, we talked about inflation and how in big tourism areas there's a lot of inflation, which of course raises prices for locals. And the two main things that I really want you guys to get is the difference between a multiplier, which is a good positive economic impact, and the leakage. And basically what we want to do ultimately is making a destination self-reliant so that they can rotate money more and more in the same area, right? And that is called a multiplier. So ultimately it means $1 you spend is being multiplied. That effect is being multiplied. When does it leak out? Basically when we have to import things or we're spending it somewhere outside of that region. And when does that happen? When a tourist wants things that are not in the area. So if you go to Hawaii and you want a steak from Argentina, that is leakage, because now we're having to buy things, right, from outside. And so that's one of the reasons why we say buy local, eat local, stay local. And so in terms of leakage, that's basically the opposite of a multiplier. It's where that chain is being broken, right? You guys saw the statistics. 80% of a package tour is leakage, right? In some countries like India and Thailand, 70%, 80% of what you spend leaks out. So these are really high. There are two different types of leakages. One is import leakage, and that basically means that money leaks out because tourists want things that are just not in the destination where they are. And so especially think about small island nations that have to import everything. So yes, you're staying somewhere, but they have to import everything to kind of feed you and have you sleep somewhere. And then the other one is export leakage, and that really means that even though you're traveling to, let's say, Costa Rica, but you're staying in a foreign-owned business, such as any kind of multinational chain, that money ultimately leaks out through export leakage. So just kind of look at those. And then lastly, we talked about sociocultural impacts, right? And you guys saw the example of the luau. So basically that means culture is changing, right? People are adapting to tourist demands. They're starting to do their dances, their songs, their culture to get paid, right? And that's what we call commodification. So we're turning something into a product that we're selling, and that's commodification. And with that comes standardization. So now we're standardizing things, right? You're seeing the same things all over the world. And that also leads to loss of authenticity. So now think about the luau example I gave you. It's not this sacred thing anymore. Now we're doing it every, Wednesday at 3 p.m. in front of the Hilton, right? It's losing its authenticity. So just look at that. In terms of the videos, the main thing I want you guys to remember from the cruise ship video is the term flags of convenience, because that's really important. It basically means that these cruise ships get away with not following any laws, environmental or human protection of laborers, because they fly flags of convenience, which is basically meaning that they're registered in a country that doesn't have any laws. And in the Cancun video, you really saw a good example of mass tourism development and some of the impacts it has on local people, like the lack of water and on regular, very low pay. I hope you guys enjoyed this module, and we're on to module 3 next week.